Hello everyone, thanks for joining. Nice to see you. Most of you will know who I am, hopefully. For those of you that don't, I'm Sara Tatam, one of the senior sales executives here at Provident. And we started to do these sessions every quarter when Sugar do their latest releases. So you'll learn about what the new features are in the latest release. It just saves you reading all of SugarCRM's release notes. At least, I can show you stuff and show you some pictures and go through, the main points. So just to get started then, everybody will be on mute just while I'm going through some of the sections. So they're broken down. Once we've gone through one section, we'll unmute and you can ask questions. If you don't want to speak, then feel free to put questions in the chat there. But yeah, it's a fairly interactive session and yeah, let's go. So, oops, should have done that first. I've just done that, but there I am. Okay, so this is the agenda that we're going to be looking at today. So we're going to be going through what is new in Self-Serve and Enterprise. So the features I run through there will be in all three of them. Then we'll just look at what's coming in Sell, then in Serve, then what is in Enterprise, Mobile and Market. It does look like there's quite a lot here to get through, but some of these areas are just going to, take a minute, whereas some of them will take a little bit longer. So we'll go through then the what's going to be available in Self-Serve and Enterprise. So this is version 12. So anybody that is on Sugar Cloud, you'll probably already be on version 12 now, I would imagine. So this is what we've got. So Sugar have introduced a native integration for third-party cloud drive. So that includes Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. So there's a little dashlet that you can add just, on the record view on your dashboard. And you can then access all of your documents which you store in Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. So there's some points there you can take a look at, but the dashlet will allow you to refresh, so you can refresh the current folders. You can add a folder within a folder as well. You can upload files to a current folder. You can look at and toggle whether you want to see just your files or any files that have been shared. You'll be able to download a file. You can also copy a link to the files, which will just file it to your computer's clipboard. You can also create a Sugar document. So there's an action in here where you can create a Sugar document, which will simply convert the file to a Sugar document. And the Sugar document will record the name and it'll match the file name and the publish date. And then you'll be able to see it within the document subpanel from the main screen or the main record that you generated that from. There is also the option to delete. So just to let you know that any items deleted via the Cloud Drive dashlet are immediately deleted from Google Drive, but those that have got it connected to OneDrive, it'll move them to the recycle bin. So that's the third-party Cloud Drive. Docusign integration, you may have already seen this or may already be using it, but if you do have a Docusign account, there is a free integration for you to use integrated with Sugar. It's really good. I use it here. So any of you that have received any documents from me from Docusign, I just built them and sent them from within Sugar. But you can, look at envelopes that are out, envelopes that have been signed, all of the signed documents that you get back from Docusign. Also go to the documents module, so you'll be able to see all of those within Sugar as well. So it's a really good integration. So if you are using Docusign, because you do need a Docusign account, then yeah, go ahead and download that Docusign integration. If you want more information on where to get that from, let me know. But yeah, that's a really good feature. Updated user interface. Okay, so I'm going to actually show some stuff now in a second, but just to run through the items that we have here. So Sugar have made some changes to the user interface. Don't worry, the layouts, everything hasn't changed. It's not different colors. It's just how you can access the list view. So we've got pagination, frozen header and first column rows, collapsible filter panels. So I'll just show you what those look like now. I can go there and then We'll open this. So just going to a list view here, what you'll now see is whenever I'm scrolling or scrolling to
Sarah,
the right.
I don't see your screen.
Oh, is it just stopped? Hang on. That screen. Okay, that was weird. All I did was get rid of the.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have, when we are scrolling across and right, we can see that the columns and the rows are now frozen. So if I move across to the right, I can still see the account name. When I scroll down, I can still see the header row here. So that's a really good feature, because often when we're scrolling down, we can't quite remember the order of the fields at the top. In terms of the pagination aspect, so usually when we scrolled down, there would be something down here that says load more, and it would load 20 at a time. So now what we're able to do is just click next to go to the next page, or you could put a number in. So if you're going from A to Z and you've got 5,000 accounts, you could just say, actually, let's just go straight to page 4. So there is that there now, and it does load quicker than the load more function that was available. Okay, sorry, I just need to bring up my PowerPoint, put it over here so I can follow the points. Collapsible filter panel. Okay, so obviously Sugar have the filtering aspect here, so we can go show me any account that is the type of competitor, and then I can add another one. What I'm able to do now, if I didn't, if I've got, because we can build up filters, you might have 5, 7, 10. Whilst it's building that up, what you're able to do is click the little arrow there, and it will just collapse it while that's building for you. So we've now got the ability just to minimize that filter, especially if you've got 7, 10, 12, then it can take up half the screen. So you can actually minimize that collapsible filter now. So also, just to go back over to the slide here, I'll just keep it on this view for now. It's actually easier than trying to swap and change my screens around. So Sugar now have also done a preferred sending account. So when you're in the emails module, obviously when you do send an email from Sugar, you'd have to choose where you want it to come from. But what Sugar have added on the screen down here, when you are setting up the email account for a user, is they can select their preferred sending account. So it almost defaults to where the email comes from. And then also on the user interface section, the product version and information has moved. Okay, so before, when you wanted to find out what version of Sugar you were on, etc., you'd click on the about, but it's gone. So in order to find that now, we just click the help section. Sorry. So in order to find that now, we just click this help section here, and it will pop up to tell you whether you're on sell, serve, here we go, what version you're on, and what products that you have there. Okay, so that's that section. Moving to the next slide. So the drop-down editor, so there's actually been some really good changes here. So in terms of the drop-down editor, what we now have is localizing drop-down list values. So for example, if obviously you've got different languages within your organization, you can display translated drop-down lists. So this just gives you an example here of how that needs to look. So your system labels are the same, you've got your language, and then you just have the English versus the language that you're using. The next one here, the drop-down conditional and role-based layouts, I've been playing around with this quite a lot, and it's really, really powerful. So basically, you can configure the record views to display a customized layout based on a drop-down selection. So in this example, we're looking at the drop-down field. If energy is selected, then show the following fields. So another good way for me to explain this is, if you imagine the opportunities module, you might have different types of pipeline. You might have a product, a service pipeline. If product is selected, then show these sales stages, whereas if service is selected, then show different sales stages. So it's really, really powerful. I've been using that quite a lot, and it'll also is the same for role-based layouts as well. So you can do it based on a user's role, or you can do it based on a selection in a drop-down list. Now's the time, if you wish, either unmute yourselves, ask any questions based on those first few things we've taken a look at. So just to confirm, all of that we've just seen is in Sell, Serve and Enterprise. Okay, I'll continue. So now we're going to have a look at what is available in Sell. Okay, so if you're using SugarCRM, then this is what is available in Sell now. The first one being forecast improvements. Okay, so if you're using the forecast module, then there are some forecast improvements. So this here is what it looked like pre-version 12. But if we move on now to what it looks like now, you can see that it has changed. Okay, so it's a lot more clearer. The buttons have changed, the layouts have changed, and we've got obviously some more annotated text there to understand what the columns are. So the look and feel of the forecast module has changed. Let me just try and put this in. I've just been told that you're just seeing that. Okay, so some forecast improvements as well. Okay, so the improvements here, I will show them on a demonstration as well, but in terms of the points here, so when sales reps committed their forecast worksheet before, they were unable to put an amount in it, just pulled from the opportunities. Whereas sometimes, you know, we think, okay, yeah, we've got about £8,000 worth of opportunities, but I'm thinking I'm going to be closing 10,000. I just haven't updated everything yet. Then what sales reps can actually do, and the managers that they report to, they can actually free text an amount in the forecast module now, which I'll show you in a second. And then what's also a really good feature is if you are making changes on your forecast worksheet, and if you'd not hit save yet, it wouldn't show you the changes you've made. So what Sugar have done now is they've actually highlighted anything that you go in and start to change, just so you can make sure you hit save so you can see the changes that you've been making. So just to show you that over here, so I'm logged in as Jim, so this is a demo environment. So what I can see here is the team commitment, likely and best. I can double click that and say, actually, my team is going to close £8,000 and then whisk that up to commitment to my managers and so on. If I go into myself personally, so here, I'm now just looking at mine, whereas before I was looking at Jim's team. Here's where I can go in and say, actually, this is now changed to qualification. This close date has changed to here. This has changed to ID decision makers. So it's actually highlighting things as I'm changing them. And then I can go ahead and commit, and it will go ahead and save all of those. If you're not using the forecast module and you would like to know more about it, then reach out to me after this session. I'd be happy just to take you through it. But it's where you set, you know, quarterly, monthly targets for sales reps, and that's how they would manage that there. Okay, so moving on. The product catalogue. Okay, so a couple of changes here is firstly, and this is something I've been waiting for a long time, is Sugar have now added a status field in a product catalogue, so we can see if there is a product that's active, inactive or retired. So a good example here is obviously Sugar changed the names of some of their products. So we, you know, call something Sugar, just Sugar, and then it goes to Sugar Sell. So I need to go through our product catalogue here at Provident, and I need to go in and create new products to reflect that new change. So then the older ones I just put to retired. So then they're not going to appear in the product catalogue dashboard for other users to then go ahead and select and sell an old product. So that's a really good feature. And then we have some UI improvements to the product catalogue dashlet. Okay, anything product catalogue I really like. So if we go and have a quick look at the new dashlet, so if we just go to an opportunity, or just go and create a new opportunity, So this is if you're using revenue line items. When you're putting an opportunity together, you'll be asked to add your revenue line items, and you can add revenue line items directly from the product catalog. So this is how I use it. So when we're looking here, we've got obviously the overview of the opportunity with you know, where it come from, what's the who it belongs to, and things like that. But over here is our product catalog. So I typically would go in here, find a product, but what we now have is a preview. So if you've got products, and I can think of a few of you on this call actually that might have similar names, then the user can actually preview that product first just to check it's the right one. So here's the information about that product, and then they can add it. So they don't need to preview, come out and then go to the dashlet and add it. They can get a quick look at it here and then add it, and you can see it's filtered down to the revenue line item. So that's some features that they've done on the product catalog there as well. Really helpful. Okay. Oh, next one, lead conversion improvements. Again, there's a couple of bits for me to show you on this one. So typically when we are converting from a lead, as you'll know, Sugar goes off and creates a contact and an optional opportunity. So previously, whenever you were creating the opportunity on the conversion screen, you couldn't add multiple revenue line items. You'd have to save it and then go back and add a revenue line item. So we can actually go ahead and add limited revenue line items now. And we can also view and add via the product catalog record, as I've just shown you. And then we can actually cascade the opportunity values through all revenue line items via any conversion as well. So I'll just show you those just to give you a bit more context around that. I figured out now how to get from one screen to the other using Teams. Fab. Okay, we'll go to an unconverted lead. These demo systems can sometimes be unpredictable on how quick they load. Okay, so we will use this lead here. So it's new, it's not already converted. So I'm just going to click into him. Obviously, this screen might look slightly different. You know, you've probably got yours customized with your fields that are relevant to you. So this is just an off-the-shelf version of Sugar. And if we go up here and we do the convert, of course, it does the usual step of finding the contact, checking for duplicates. There are no duplicates, so we can go ahead and create that contact. And now we're down to the opportunity. So this is where now, so if I just put test, lunch, learn, and then fill out any mandatory fields here. I don't have any, so that's cool. So I'll just put this as new business. And then underneath, I can go ahead and add revenue line items, but I do it all from the product dashlet. So here I can preview it, but I've just shown you that. So I'm just going to go and select the number of revenue line items. Something's really eating up my bandwidth. Let's try this one. Okay, so we'll push in this here as well. Okay, so I've got a couple of revenue line items here. And then what we'd need to do before was go ahead and update these sales stages individually and the expected close dates. But what I can do now is actually do it from the master opportunity record, and it will go and cascade those through all of my revenue line items. So we go here, I'm going to set the sales stage to here, and then we're going to go create opportunity, and then all of those revenue line items that we just added will mirror the expected close date and the sales stage that I just put on the opportunity. So previously you'd have to go through the revenue line item and do them individually. Now you can do it all just from the opportunity and cascade those values down. Okay, so that's the lead conversion improvements. Okay, so some information here and some updates on the web to lead form. So we've now got some redirect URL options. So you can specify now whether to get or post a request for a web to lead form redirect, and whether to include the form's data in the redirect request. So there's the differences there on what get and post will do. So if you are using web to lead forms in Sugar, then this information relates to that section there. So now we are coming up to the next section. Just before we do, does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask on the previous section on what's available in Cell? Okay, we'll move to Serve now. There's only one option in here for Serve. So don't forget the very beginning included Self-Serve and Enterprise, but this section here is just for Serve. But it only really matters if you're using Sugar Market as well. So what the enhancement here is if you're using Sugar Serve and you've got it integrated with Sugar Market, you can now sync the interest prediction and market score from Sugar Market into Serve. Okay, it was already there for Sell, but it's now there for Serve. Sugar Enterprise. Okay, so this is if you're using Enterprise, which is an on-premise installation. So if you were on my last Lunch and Learn session, everything that I pretty much showed in that section, which included those points there, so doc merge, new calendar, focus draws, all the really cool stuff, that is now available in Enterprise on-premise. So if you're not upgraded yet and you'd like to be upgraded, then reach out to your IT or to us. But yeah, there's some really good features in there for version 12 of Enterprise on-premise. If you missed my last Lunch and Learn, where I demonstrated all of these quite in depth, then it's on our YouTube channel, so you can find it, and it's this one here, so you can take a look at that. But there is, the last Lunch and Learn had so much features packed into it. It was a really good session. There's lots there, so if you haven't seen it, go back and take a quick look. Again, it's split into self-serve, so you can just fast forward to the items that you're wanting to take a look at. Okay, no questions here. Any questions from Enterprise on-premise? Can anybody hear me?
Yep.
Oh, phew. Okay, next is Sugar Mobile. So for those that are using the Sugar Mobile app, which is available on Android and iOS, here are some of the features that have been released in the latest version of Sugar Mobile. So the calendar improvements, okay, I think we're all really happy since Sugar brought out that new calendar in the last quarter release. That is now available on the Sugar Mobile. So there's an example there of what that calendar now looks like. And a couple of email improvements as well. So you can attach Sugar documents. If you've got them saved, obviously, in the documents module in Sugar, you can now attach those documents when composing an email from Sugar Mobile. And you can also filter the address book by module. Okay, so that's a new feature. And then ability to select the email address to use as the recipient. So if in Sugar, against the contact, you can have more than one email address. So that's just to select which one is the preferred one to go to the recipient. Okay, Sugar Market. So for those that are using Sugar Market, there's been quite a lot of updates here, and there's more to come as well. So the first big one that I know everybody has been asking for is dynamic email content. So now you can engage with many customer and prospect segments by sending one email that has variations depending on a number of factors. So the country they're based in, the product that they purchase, or the stage of where they're at. You can have different images and texts on the email depending on who it's being sent to, but only using one email template. So there's dynamic blocks which will change as and when you send that email out to the criteria that you've set up. The next one here is they have updated the user interface on scoring profiles and lead templates, and there is a snippet there for you to see. It's much nicer. I ran through it last week, and it's much easier to set up scoring profiles as well. So if you are using sugar market with scoring profiles, definitely take a look at that. The email builder 2, so the email builder 2.0, there's been some improvements there, which you can see on the screen. So we've got edit text element code, hover help text, the nurtures list sorting, and report list requirements. We will share these slides as well, and it'll all be recorded. So if you did want to come back to this, you absolutely can. And then just a few more sugar market improvements now. So we've got web activity tracking improvements, email builder 2 enhancements, which we've just gone through. The improvements to the landing page exception handling. So, you know, any associated web hits can now be deleted as long as they are in an unpublished status. And interest prediction labels in Nurture Analytics. So instead of it saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these labels might say low, medium, high quality. So you can now actually have the labels available in the Nurture Analytics. Wow, that was a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be. But does anybody have any questions, any feedback? Listen, if there's anything in particular you want to know more about, you know, if you're using Sugar and not using the forecast module, I'm more than happy to run through those in more information. But please, if you didn't sign up to the last Lunch and Learn, go to YouTube, find our channel and look at that last Lunch and Learn. It had so many features in there and I was demonstrating it all. It's really, really good. Right, well, I'll do another one as soon as we know what Sugar's next release looks like for Q3. And we'll send you all the invite again. And again, any questions, you can either contact myself or Emma. Emma's on the line as well. Thanks, everyone.